Good morning, friends. Today we would be continuing with the climate change booklet that we were doing. There's one thing today. I haven't got my earphones. You'll have to send your doubts in chat. So please do this. Uh, I'll keep the chat open in front of me so that I can take your doubts. So yesterday we had covered some of the most important things in climate change, the climate change negotiations. We dealt with United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. We also briefly spoke about Kyoto Protocol, and then we dealt in details on issues related to Paris Agreement. Now, please note that we have so far done only the those aspects of climate change negotiations which are relevant for preliminary examination. There is a lot of analysis like what should happen in the future climate change negotiations, how developed and developing countries can come on the same page, or even before that, what are the areas of conflicts between developed and developing countries. All those things are supposed to be done for mains examination. So we haven't done those things here. Now, let us start with today's class. Here, we'll be dealing with some international efforts, some other international efforts other than UNFCCC and Kyoto Protocol and Paris Agreement. There are some other international efforts which have been taken to deal with the issue of climate change, to fight climate change. We would be dealing with those aspects. The first is the Climate Ambition Alliance. Now, again, first look at the name. Always, name is very important. Questions में जैसे keywords important होते हैं, your name is very important. In the name itself, there's a word ambition. This will tell you roughly what this alliance is about. We have seen IPCC report telling us that NDCs which different countries have provided so far are not enough to limit the temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Right? Then what do we need to do? We need to increase our NDCs. We need to make it more ambitious. And Climate Ambition Alliance is focused on that. This alliance is encouraging countries that go for more ambitious. The purpose of the alliance should come from the name itself. That's why never get bogged down by a question. Even if you haven't heard that issue before, look at the name. Try to understand the name. For those of you who know Hindi, you have an extra advantage. You can always look at the Hindi translation of the question that you get in the civil services examination. And by that also you can eliminate options or you can choose an option. Okay, so here what this alliance is about? This alliance is about encouraging country to increase their NDCs. Why? Because currently the NDCs are not enough. Now, let us look at some other details about the alliance. One is it not only consists of a few countries, but it also has non-state actors whose aim is to accelerate the transformation needed to meet the goal of Paris Agreement, that is enhance NDCs. Okay, now when it was established, it had 73 countries, a few regions were there, some cities were there, some businesses were there, but we do not have to remember this numbers. The numbers may keep changing. What is important is to remember that other than countries, private players are also there. Some regions are also, like City of London would participate. So that region is participating in doing this. Now, Chile and United States were two countries which had mobilized this initiative, and the idea was that again promote those aspects which will reduce climate change. Under this, what are they doing? They're working towards two different approaches. One is the approach of mitigation, that is fighting climate change, that is preventing climate change to rise more. So, iske liye they're saying that enhanced NDCs should come, new commitments should be brought in so that we reach net zero emission by 2050. Then for adaptation, they are saying that we need strong actions to improve the management of water. Like in future, there may be water scarcity because of climate change. So we have to adapt to it. So here, strong actions to improve the management of water, resilience, infrastructure, and sustainability of the cities. These are adaptation related issues are something that they would be promoting. Now, leaders summit on climate. Other thing that was in news recently. We know that COP26, Conference of Parties 26 on climate change on UNFCCC will be taking place in October, November in Glasgow, United Kingdom. We know that. This summit was a kind of precursor to that, where the US president invited representatives from 40 largest emitters and thus the economies of the world. It was held in April 2021. So, US president के initiative पे Leaders Summit on Climate was held, where leaders from 40 different countries participated. What was the idea? Idea was, before we go to the climate change COP, उससे पहले भी कुछ काम होना चाहिए. Now, also note that it was a virtual summit. April, May, the COVID-19 was in India, especially was at a peak and all. So even now we haven't started this big gathering, which happens physically. Now, what happened in the summit? One key thing that happened was many countries announced more ambitious indices. Many countries said that they'll be taking more ambitious efforts to fight climate change. For example, USA, it said that they would halve their greenhouse gas emission by 2030. That's halving your greenhouse emission by 2030 is a big task, but they have said they will be doing it. Similarly, Japan is saying that they will cut their emission by 46 to 50%, almost halving it of the 2013 level by 2030. Similarly, India did not put in any new targets because India already has set a very high target, and India is still a developing country, so it would not be possible for it to reduce its emissions like that. But India has reiterated its commitment of developing a capacity of 450 gigawatt of renewable energy by 2030, and it has also launched US India 2030 Climate and Clean Energy Agenda and Partnership. इससे US and India would be collaborating. In fact, China has indicated that it will soon be joining Kigali Amendment. So let's briefly talk about what this Kigali Amendment is. We'll study it in detail when we are dealing with ozone layer depletion, but यहाँ पे briefly understand it. See, the way we have United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change and Kyoto Protocol to fight greenhouse gases, in the same way we have Vienna Convention. जैसे UNFCCC है, ऐसे Vienna Convention for ozone depleting substances. And the way we have Kyoto Protocol, in the same way we had Montreal Protocol to fight ozone depleting substances, to reduce, ban ozone depleting substances. Okay, this I hope you have understood. Now, this Montreal Protocol said that do not use PFCs and a number of other products which deplete ozone. But the replacement products which came, they were not ozone depleting because वो नहीं कर सकते, but they were big greenhouse contributor or global warming contributor. They were greenhouse gases or they were huge global warming contributors. So an amendment was made to Montreal Protocol called Kigali Amendment in 2006, which is targeting what? which is targeting these greenhouse gases. Is it clear? We'll study about Kigali and Montreal and Vienna in detail. We have one more booklet pending जहाँ पे climate के थोड़े से update and whatever update of environment and biodiversity would be there, we'll be dealing with there. So ozone depletion and ocean acidification are a few areas in climate change that we still have to do. So I'll again repeat it so that you have clarity on this issue. We have Vienna Convention where countries agreed कि हाँ there is problem, ozone depletion is taking place, ozone layer depletion is taking place, and we need to reduce ozone depleting substances. Then came Montreal Protocol. Montreal Protocol was kind of binding protocol like Kyoto, जहाँ पे every country was given a date कि इतने time तक you have to reduce your ozone depleting substances. Now, when countries removed these ozone depleting substances, they introduced other substances which were not ozone depleting but were greenhouse gases. जैसे HFC, hydrofluorocarbon, which is one of the replacements here, is having a huge global warming potential. So even a small quantity of HFC is very problematic for global warming. So to restrict the use of these greenhouse gases, the Kigali in 2016 Montreal Protocol was amended by what is known as Kigali Agreement or Kigali Amendment, which is targeting these greenhouse gases. So in the recent Leaders Summit, the China has said, China has shown intention of joining Kigali Agreement and strengthen the control of non-CO2 greenhouse gas. CO2 is a greenhouse gas, but those products are non-CO2 greenhouse gases. So usko control karne. Further, it has other than China, there are other countries like UK, EU, South Africa, Brazil who have made enhanced announcement about the efforts that they will be taking to fight. Fine. Leaders Summit on Climate. Now, this enhanced announcements is something that happened in the first session of the summit, Leaders Summit on Climate. There were 4 more sessions which helped. Second session was focused heavily on finance. How to finance the fight against climate change. And here there was a lot of emphasis on both how countries, governments need to spend more money as well as private sector need to spend. Okay, then session 3 was there. Session 3 mein, there was focus on climate action at all levels. That is at government level, at central government level, at provincial government level, at local level, at community level, even at private sector level. This was one of the focus areas. Then other areas, other aspects which were discussed were adaptation and resilience, nature-based solutions, and so on. Session 4 was on innovation, science and technology and innovation. Here, issues like what technology, what innovation can help us achieve net zero transition quickly was focused upon. And finally, in the 5th session, they talked about how fighting climate change in long run would be beneficial economically as well as how it would be leading to creation of high quality jobs. Okay, so these were sessions. We perhaps do not need to get into the details of each of the sessions, but the UPSC may ask you a question ki Climate Leaders Summit, what were the things which were discussed? So even this was discussed ki how fighting climate change can contribute towards job creation, quality job creation. So this would not be like something very automatic that we'll understand, that we'll be able to guess. ये थोड़ा सा पढ़ लेते हैं तो it would be there with us. So from India, Prime Minister Modi had visited. We are among the top 40 emitters as well as the top 40 largest economies in the world. So Prime Minister Modi from India had attended this summit live from India only. It was virtually held. Okay, then there's another initiative LEAF, Lowering Emissions by Accelerating Forest Finance Coalition. It was also launched this summit. तो अप्रैल 2021 में समिट हुआ है. This LEAF coalition, Lowering Emissions by Accelerating Forest Finance, was also launched in the summit. फोकस क्या है? देखो, lowering emission by accelerating forest finance. Forest finance, that is, we know that deforestation is one of the biggest causes of increasing greenhouse gases, right? Like, if we choose three sectors which are the most greenhouse gas emitters, we would perhaps say industry, deforestation, and transportation. Right? So deforestation is one of the key issues. So to fight climate change, it's important to fight deforestation. Now, this LEAF coalition, Lowering Emission by Accelerating Forest Finance, it is focused on mobilizing $1 billion to protect tropical forests across the world. Mobilize $1 billion to protect tropical forests across the world. इसमें क्या किया जा रहा है? It's a public-private effort where a few countries are there, like USA, UK, Norway. LEAF coalition में there are companies also, other than government. There are companies also like Unilever, Amazon, Nestle, Airbnb. These are the companies which are part of it. There is one NGO, a US-based NGO also, which is part of it. Now, this money will help in afforestation. It will help in concretization of the aims of REDD+. What is REDD? Reducing emission from deforestation in developing country, by reducing deforestation in developing country. It's an initiative by United Nations. It is an initiative under by United Nations that we would be talking about in today's class only. We'll be discussing it in more detail. So REDD was reducing emission from deforestation in developing countries. Deforestation से जो emission हो रहा है, so it is concretizing REDD+ also. So LEAF coalition launched where in April 2021, idea mobilized $1 billion to protect tropical forests. This is the core current affairs thing. If I was only teaching you people current affairs, these are some things which I would have covered. I would not have gone into the details of greenhouse gases and all those things. These are certain things which you would also find in magazines, LEAF coalition. Okay, then Petersburg Climate Dialogue. Just know this, sometimes UPSC 2-3 साल पुरानी चीजें ऐसे पूछ लेता है, Petersburg Climate Dialogue क्या है? Right, so we should have an idea about Petersburg Climate Dialogue is an initiative which has been hosted by Germany since 2010, where informal climate related discussions are held. The 11th Petersburg Climate Dialogue was co-chaired by United Kingdom and Germany and was held in I think 2020, April 2020, Petersburg Climate Dialogue. Now, European Green Deal or EU carbon neutrality. European Green Deal. Here, EU, under this deal, European Union has decided that they would become what? Carbon neutral by 2050. EU would become carbon neutral by 2050. That is, their total emission will be utna hi jitna is being consumed by the nature. They would not be adding in any extra CO2. EU will not be adding in any extra CO2, and towards this, one of the targets that they have set is that they would reduce their emissions by 50% by 2030. At least 50%, it may also go to 55%. So this deal, this EU Green Deal is covering all sectors, almost all economies, and it's not like they would say that, okay, from transportation we are not halving it, but we are halving it from energy sector. No, all sectors, all economic sectors, including transport, agriculture, energy and building, have been covered. Under this, they have also developed a just transition mechanism. Now, what is this just transition mechanism? See, consider the situation of two countries, one Germany and one Latvia, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, कुछ वैसी countries, चलो वो छोड़ दो. EU की बात करते हैं, EU में है ना, वो कंट्रीज EU में है। तो कंसिडर वन डेवलप्ड कंट्री एंड वन डेवलपिंग कंट्री। Developed country has also reached has already reached a level of industrialization that it can think of reducing its CO2 emission, but developing country hasn't. So if you would ask both these countries, you become carbon neutral by 2050, this developing country would be at a disadvantage. Developing country would be at a disadvantage, and therefore it would not be just. It would not be fair. And thus, to ensure fairness, a just transition mechanism has also been included under EU Green Deal. What is this just transition mechanism? Here, $100 billion would be mobilized to help countries which are developing, which are not as advanced as the Western European countries, to achieve these targets without hampering their economic development, without hampering their growth. This is this Just Transition Alliance. It is to support those regions that rely heavily on very carbon intensive activities. इसमें फिर one more thing that you should notice, to implement this, a law was supposed to be passed by the European Parliament, and to promote this, there's also focus on promotion of circular economy. We understand what circular economy is? Recycle, reuse वाला economy हम circular economy बोलते हैं. One country, Poland, has decided to stay out of it because Poland says that by 2050 achieving carbon neutrality will not be possible for us because we are heavily dependent on coal. And thus Poland has stayed out. Now, climate funding, one of the major contentious issue in the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change or in general. See, what happens is there is demand that reduce CO2 emission, reduce greenhouse gas emission. Developed countries who are already emitting a lot, they can say that we have reduced by 10%. But developing countries who are not emitting that much and who are still industrializing, if you would ask them to reduce their CO2 emission, it would be difficult for them. Further, they would not have technology to do that. So, developed countries have contributed to the most CO2. They are the ones who are responsible for this global warming. So, rather than forcing developing countries also to reduce their emission, they should help them because it's their fault. So, to mobilize these resources, there are certain initiatives. For example, if you would remember, under UNFCCC, it was decided that developed countries would be contributing $100 billion every year by 2020. In Paris Agreement, it has been said that by 2025, every year developed countries would mobilize $100 billion to help developing countries. Now, how that works is something that we want to understand. So, there are two funding mechanisms: Global Environment Facility and Green Climate Fund. Now, just look at the names: Global Environment Facility and Green Climate Fund. What would be the key difference? What would be the basic fundamental difference here? Global Environment Facility and क्या है दूसरा Green Climate Fund. What would be the difference between the two? Sorry, बोलो बोलो क्या बोल रहे हो? Yeah, one of them, Global Green Climate Fund, is focused on climate change, whereas Global Environment Facility, environment would include environment pollution, it would include biodiversity protection, it would also include climate change, fighting climate change. So this is a more wider fund. Global Environment Facility is a more wide fund, whereas this fund is mostly for fighting climate change. तो UNFCCC के अंदर जब ये बोला जा रहा है that developed countries would be providing $100 billion every year, where would that be going? It would be going in GCF. Okay, so GCF, it was first established in COP16 at Cancun in 2010, where it was regarded as the chief instrument of fulfilling developed countries' collective promise to put $100 billion annually. It is through this fund developed countries were expected to pull this thing. Then at Paris in COP21, when the Paris Agreement was signed, GCF was supposed to be funded again. GCF was supposed to serve Paris Agreement also. Under Paris Agreement, again, it has been said that till 2025, developed countries would be contributing $100 billion. Right? Please make this correction. I think in your notes वो 2020 ही गलती से लिख दिया गया है. 2020 तो पुराना ही चल रहा था. Please make this correction. It's 2025. So Paris Agreement says that till 2025, every year developed countries would be contributing $100 billion for developing countries. So how would that go? That will go through Green Climate. Now, what is the structure? How the Green Climate Fund is governed? It is governed by a board which consists of 24 members. Half of them are from developed countries, half of them are developing countries, and it is accountable and it functions under COP, where all members of UNFCCC are there. It has an independent secretariat in the Republic of Korea in the place called Songdo. A World Bank acts as interim trustee for this initiative. Now, over the years, we have seen that developed countries have had very poor track record in providing this fund. There was a commitment that $100 billion would be provided, but there are complaints related to double counting. For example, let's say Germany provides some fund to some African country because of colonial atrocities. It would also include it in कि हम ये climate change को fight करने के लिए fund दे रहे हैं. That is double counting. They sometimes inflate the claims. They repackage existing aid money as this thing. So these kind of things have happened. Developing countries say that climate finance must be new and additional, not the finance which is already going on. Over the last 10 years, there have been 2010 when this was formed in Cancun summit, there have been very less contribution. In last 10 years, $100 billion a year would have meant $1 trillion of total contribution. $100 billion into 10 is $1,000 billion, that is $1 trillion. That much of contribution should have been made by now. But total contribution last 10 years is not even $100 billion. It's not even 1/10. Okay, so this $100 billion, and even if $100 billion would have happened every year, that is inadequate. Experts say that contribution have to be much higher. $100 billion is inadequate. Then there is Global Environment Facility. This Global Environment Facility was created on the eve of Rio Earth Summit. Rio Earth Summit mein UNFCCC was also there, CBD, Convention on Biological Diversity, and CC, Desertification Related Convention. So it is serving all those. You would see, it is serving CBD, UNFCCC, UNCCD, also the Stockholm Convention on Persistent Organic Pollutants, Minamata Convention on Mercury. It's also dealing with the pollution related aspect. So now I hope you would never get confused between GCF and this environment facility. The name there will give you a clear-cut picture. GCF is funding whom? It's funding UNFCCC's initiatives. GEF, environment facility. बात समझ में आ रही है? Clearly, without any दिक्कत? Okay. Then, so it was established on the eve of Rio Earth Summit. Environmental problems को tackle करने के लिए, it's an independent international partnership of 183 countries, some international institutions, civil society organization, and so on. So far, what has it done? It has mobilized $100 billion in co-financing for many projects. Where does it get its money? It gets its money from member countries' contribution. So there are many areas where in which it is working. For example, protected area, sustainable landscape and seascape, sustainable forest management, disposal of hazardous waste, adaptation to climate change, integrated water resources. These are different areas in which GEF is functioning, is working. Now, GEF has some certain bodies under. One is GEF Assembly. It is the highest decision making body and consists of all members. It meets only once in 4 years. So last meeting 2018 में हुई थी. Next meeting 2022 में. Then there is GEF Council. It is the governing body and consists of 32 members. Now, like GCF, here also a balance between developed and developing countries have been thought of. So there are 14 members from developed countries and 16 members from developing. Now, it's located in Washington DC, World Bank acts as trustee like the previous GCF also. It's acting as trustee here. Funds come from contribution from member countries. It is replenished every 4 years in the assembly. India is also one of the donors to GEF 39. GEF 39. Now, who gets the fund? Developing countries and countries which are in transition for various environmental projects, they do get the fund. Other than this, there is also a GEF Small Grants Program. In GEF Small Grants Program, money is given to NGOs. बाकी केस में countries को मिल रहे हैं, developing countries को. But under this GEF Small Grants Fund, money goes to civil society organization and local communities, not to government. And here there's a limit. Maximum money that can be given is $50,000 unless the project is strategic, and for strategic project it could be 1,50,000. समझ में आ रही है बातें? Okay. Now, see, GEF assembly which meets once in 4 years. Last was held in June 2018. It was held in Vietnam. GEF Council, which is the governing body, it keeps on meeting. Abhi June 2021 maybe it met in June 2021 and it adopted various programs worth $281 million. It included projects in international waters, projects related to biodiversity, climate change, chemical and waste. So it is environment related pura environment. GEF is dealing with that. Then along with this, there was also a meet of Council for the Least Developed Countries. And this Council for the Least Developed Countries led to this Council for the Least Developed Countries focuses on how least developed countries could be helped in environmental related issues. So this council also meets when the GEF Council meets. So it also met in June 2021, and some projects like LDCF work program involving 7 LDCs, 5 of which are accessing LDCF for the first time during GF7 was finalized here. Okay, so these were some other finance related initiatives too. Global climate and GEF. See, when I was a student, I used to read newspaper articles. GEF, GCF दोनों पढ़ता था. Then I used to Google it. But there was no one to tell me exact difference. देखो भाई ये environment है. ये when you read their goals, it would appear similar. ये भी इसको fight कर रहा है, ये भी इसको fight कर रहा है. So to get crystal clear picture, a teacher can add to that. A teacher can ensure that you get a clear. Now, when you read newspaper articles, GCF, GEF, you would know what those two things. GCF under UNFCCC, finalized in Cancun Summit. $100 billion every year is the target. Paris Agreement ke andar bhi, it is the financial mechanism. GEF independent, finalized in 1992 after on the eve of the Earth Summit. It's covering 5 broad conventions. The 3 of the Earth Summit, Minamata and Stockholm Convention of POP. Stockholm Convention we have already studied twice. So we know that Stockholm Convention is related to POP. Okay, fine, done. So I yesterday a student, day before yesterday, 2 students came and said कि sir environment बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया. I was like, बेटा पढ़ना तो ज्यादा पड़ेगा ही। प्लीज सर नहीं, इतना कौन पढ़ता है? आई सेड कि इफ यू आर रीडिंग शंकर आईएएस का बुक और एनी अदर बुक, इट्स ऑलरेडी 300 पेजेस, उससे भी ज्यादा, एंड थिंग्स आर नॉट गिवन सिस्टमैटिकली, थिंग्स आर mixed together. Here I'm ensuring that you will not have to read those books. I'm ensuring that you will not have to read any current affairs. So it's not too much. What you end up doing is you end up comparing it with current affairs material of other coaching institutes कि उन्होंने environment का तो इतना सही material दिया है. That's not you should do. You should look at the things that I'm doing. The things which are in news, have they covered it? एंड फिर मतलब देखो, मेरी क्लास में मुझे वो लोग चाहिए जो मेहनत सिस्टमैटिकली मेहनत करने के लिए रेडी है. इफ यू वांट अ 50 पेज करंट अफेयर्स अपडेट फॉर समथिंग, यू कैन ऑलवेज टेक इट फ्रॉम द मार्केट. तो there's a line in मधुशाला which says जगती की शीतल हाला सी हाय नहीं मेरी हाला, जगती के ठंडे प्याले सा हाय नहीं मेरा प्याला, ज्वाल सुरा जलते प्याले में दग्ध हृदय की कविता है, जलने से भयभीत न जो हो आए मेरी मधुशाला. तो जो मेहनत करने से डर नहीं रहा हो ना, वो आए मेरी क्लास. मैं बहुत मेहनत करता हूं. ज्वाल सुरा जलते प्याले में दग्ध हृदय की कविता है, उसमें वो ही बोल रहे हैं कि मैंने बहुत मेहनत करके ये किया है, एंड आई विल इंश्योर यू दैट यू आर गेटिंग द बेस्ट करंट अफेयर्स. नो वन विल गिव यू एनवायरमेंट, बायोडाइवर्सिटी, क्लाइमेट चेंज. वो थोड़ा सेल्फ बोस्टिंग हो जाता है, बट ठीक है. You people need it for the confidence, for not getting diverted onto random things. ओके, तो ट्रस्ट करके पूरा खत्म करो. 300 पेजेस के नोट्स होंगे, ठीक है. You do not have to do anything else. In climate change, do you have to cover anything else at all? I'll tell you, books, what they have done. COP, सारे COPs के बारे में एक एक पैराग्राफ लिख दिया है. पेरिस एग्रीमेंट इज फाइनलाइज्ड. अब पेरिस एग्रीमेंट के पहले 4 COP में क्या हुआ नहीं जानना है भाई. Eventually the final thing, Paris Agreement happened. Paris Agreement के बाद 5 COPs में क्या हुआ है नहीं. Those are not important. They'll unnecessarily fill books by that. And any random thing from, and this is happening. Recently I got the latest edition of various books. I wanted to ensure कि कुछ भी नहीं छोड़ रहा हूं मैं. And random चीजें जो which are not useful. Okay, चलिए. Anyways, come to other efforts to fight climate change, where we'll be dealing with RE, reducing emission from deforestation in developing countries. REDD, reducing emission deforestation developing countries. So initially when this initiative was being discussed, REDD was being discussed, so usme the focus was only on reducing emission from deforestation. But later when it was finalized, a lot of other aspects other than reducing emission from deforestation, a lot of other aspects were also included, and therefore it is called REDD+. But the exact name would be able to help you understand what this is. So again, you know that deforestation is one of the major causes of the greenhouse gas emission. In developing countries are also for industrial expansion and for because of population explosion and for other factors are removing their. Developed countries have already done that. Now they want developing countries, you please don't do it. The reason is, when forests in your countries are releasing O2 and are taking CO2, it's helping the whole global community. There are countries in Africa which have more than 80% of the forest cover, tropical forest cover. Now, if those countries want to use resources to get developed, they will go for deforestation. But this is going to harm everyone in the world. Right? So, idea here is, you people, developed countries, pay. Because the O2 which is being emitted from here, you will use it. The CO2 that you are releasing in the atmosphere will be consumed here, will be removed from the atmosphere here. So idea is developing nations should be able to financially benefit from the ecosystem services that their forest. And REDD plus के अंदर this is happening. Developing the developed countries will help developing countries financially to ensure that emission because of deforestation does not happen. So the REDD plus is a climate change mitigation solution developed by parties to UNFCCC. It incentivizes developing countries to keep their forest standing by offering results-based payment for actions to reduce or remove forest carbon emission. Okay, now what are the few target areas? यहाँ पे reducing emission from deforestation is one of the target areas. Reducing emission from forest degradation. I told you, no, REDD was about deforestation only, but REDD plus covers a lot of other dimensions. So reducing emissions from forest degradation, conservation of carbon stock, sustainable management of forest, and enhancement of carbon stocks. These are various aspects being covered. It goes beyond simply deforestation and forest degradation and covers role of conservation, sustainable management, and so on. In 2019, Brazil became the first country to receive result-based aid. Brazil got money for conserving Amazon rainforest, the lungs of the globe, of the world. Brazil got money for that. In 2020, Uganda became first African country to submit the results under REDD plus to UNFCCC. So technically, it became the first country which was eligible for REDD plus funding. Please note, Uganda became the first country which was eligible, but Uganda was not the first country which got the money. First African country. See, Brazil was the first country. Uganda is the first African country which became eligible. But first African country to get fund was Gabon. We'll come to that. Niche hai. Okay, so REDD plus, I hope you have understood. Second, REDD plus in UNFCCC. It was first negotiated in 2005, COP11. It was adopted at COP13 in 2007, and in 2019, some more decisions on REDD plus was made under Warsaw Framework on REDD plus. Later, final decisions on it was completed in COP21, where Paris Agreement was signed. So all countries were also encouraged to implement and support REDD plus in Article 5 of the Paris Agreement. So as part of Paris Agreement, one of the provisions in Paris Agreement is all the countries should support REDD plus initiative. Okay, now United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change is requesting all developing countries aiming to undertake REDD plus to develop following elements. Basically, UNFCCC is saying that all those countries which are implementing REDD plus, which are undertaking REDD plus, they should do following. They should develop a national strategy or action plan. This is one key aspect. And therefore, you would see India has recently released this action. Then a national forest reference emission level should be there, so that us reference level se in future comparison could be done, and then a national forest monitoring system also should be. Otherwise, how would you say? You will take funds and say that we are protecting our forest, but we are not protecting our forest. Okay, I have explained you the difference between REDD and REDD plus. Discussion, actually the term started with REDD, but later the horizons were broadened and REDD plus was brought into. Now, India released its REDD plus strategy in 2018. Why? Because it says, the agreement says that no, you should be releasing your strategy, you should have a reference point, you should have a monitoring system. So this strategy was prepared by Indian Council for Forestry Research and Education. It builds upon existing national circumstances and It is focused on a lot of things, including cooperation and involvement of tribals and forest. Okay, तो इसका significance क्या है? Significance, we are implementing REDD plus, we'll be protecting our forest, but at the same time we'll be fighting. And one of our Paris Agreement goal is to have additional sink. This will, implementing REDD plus will help us in doing that. There is a UN REDD program. Please note, UN REDD program is different from REDD plus initiative. This is a body which will help countries in implementing REDD. Okay, UN REDD, जैसे UNDP है ना, United Nations Development Program. UNDP is as such is not itself a scheme or program. That's a body in United Nations. In the same way, this REDD program, the UN Collaborative Program on Reducing Emission from Deforestation and Degradation in a developing country. This is a multilateral body which helps in the capacity development to meet UNFCCC REDD plus requirement. Fine. Then recently एक और चीज जो न्यूज में थी वो था Central African Forest Initiative, because Gabon had become first African country to get paid for protecting its forest, and it happened under Central African Forest Initiative. So what is the Central African Forest Initiative? Central African Forest Initiative is an agreement between 6 African countries and 6 of their financial partners: European Union, France, Norway, Germany, South Korea, and Netherlands. So you will see the partners are developed countries. 6 African countries are developing tropical forest countries. So this was an agreement where these countries will provide fund to these 6 African countries for what? For conservation of their forests under REDD plus initiative. So which are the countries which are part of Central African Forest Initiative? 6 Central African or Central West African countries. Which 6 Central West African countries? I've provided you a map here. Central African Republic is there, Democratic Republic of Congo is there. Just besides Democratic Republic of Congo, we have Republic of Congo. Then Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, and Cameroon. Map question भी होना चाहिए. Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of Congo, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, and Cameroon. You would see all these countries except Central African Republic is touching the Atlantic Sea. Even DRC is going there, Republic of Congo is also going there. An interesting map question can be made out of it. It was in news. They may ask which of the following is touching the Atlantic Sea. Atlantic Ocean, I'm sorry, Atlantic Sea. Atlantic Ocean. Okay, now, so this initiative is based on REDD plus mechanism where these countries would be helping them. So in 2019, Norway had committed to pay $150 million to Gabon to protect its forest. So recently, Gabon received $17 million as payment and became the first African country to get payment under the REDD plus initiative. So please note, first country was Brazil. First African country to get to become eligible was Uganda. And then first African country to get it was Gabon. Gabon actually is interesting. More than 80% of Gabon is tropical rainforest. And Gabon has also ensured, Gabon recently was doing, generally has done well because of the oil resources that it has. It is one of those countries which have abundant petrol and thus a lot of foreign investment. In fact, it is also a country which is known for high forest density but very low deforestation. One of the high forest, low deforestation, HFLD. These are type of countries which have high forestation but very low deforestation. You would see that average deforestation rate is less than 0.1% over the last 30 years. This is very good number. Gabon के environment minister बोलते हैं that we do not emit any CO2. We extract 100 million ton of carbon dioxide from environment. जितना हम emit करते हैं उसके beyond वो extract करना, तो we are a net CO2 sink. This country is a net CO2 sink, and thus we should be getting the money. Okay, so this was schemes, programs, initiatives related to climate. Now, climate change mitigation strategy. Till now, we have broadly talked about initiatives, schemes, bodies and all. Here, we'll talk about science. How can we fight climate change? So, climate change fight karna is plant trees, right? Emit less. But now you have already emitted. How do you mitigate that? Mitigation strategy is आपने emit कर दिया है. The environment already has a lot of CO2, a lot of greenhouse gases. How do you remove that? These mitigation strategies we'll be talking about. So there are 5 things that we'll be discussing. First is carbon sequestration. Sequestration is capture and store. Capture carbon and store carbon. So there are 3 different ways of going for carbon sequestration. Traditionally, there used to be 2, biological and geological, but now we will talk about a third one, technical also. Okay, technological also. So biological sequestration is the capture of CO2 in the vegetation. Plant more trees. That is biological sequestration. So vegetation में, grassland में, forest में, as well as in soils and oceans. Soil में you would know कि organic matter falls and then remains there in the soil. It does not convert into CO2, so it gets added into the soil. And in the oceans, we already know that in ocean there is a lot of vegetation, especially in those areas which are cold as well as rich in nutrition. देखो, if areas are warm, it will release gases. The areas which are cold and have a lot of nutrition, there this thing could be then. So plant-rich landscapes are carbon sinks. Soil can be carbon sink. Colder and nutrient-rich part of the ocean which supports vegetation can be carbon. Fine. So these are biological method of carbon sequestration, where by photosynthesis carbon would be stored. Then there are geological carbon sequestration method. Geological carbon sequestration method के लिए आपको you have to know a bit of science and a bit of geography. You know that CO2 can react with minerals, various minerals, to form calcium carbonate, and thus CO2 after reacting with those minerals forming calcium carbonate remains trapped into the geological structure. So you may have studied in geography about calicate, calcium carbonate related जो landforms होते हैं. There this is stored. This is naturally. So naturally in carbonates, calcium carbonate or magnesium carbonate में CO2 gets stored. CO2 which is dissolved in water, which penetrates these minerals, lead to formation of calcium carbonate. But then there is artificial CO2 capture. Here there are different ways, like geological carbon sequestration, earth में carbon को store करना, geological is that. So one is natural, where we have talked about how calcium carbonate or magnesium carbonate or other carbonates will store carbon. तो उसे briefly थोड़ा समझ लो, like जल्दी में. I do not want that you people cannot be in a position to understand it. See, carbonates, CO, this is carbonate, right? This carbonate, it has a valency negative charge. Now, let's say this is land area. When water flows into it, when water seeps into it, let's say water is going in. Water has some dissolved CO2 in it. This water, when it gets in touch with some minerals, let's say calcium oxide, Calcium oxide, one of the products which is there in Earth's crust. This calcium oxide will react with CO2. This calcium oxide will react with CO2 to form calcium carbonate. Similarly, magnesium compounds can react with CO2 to form magnesium carbonate. But this calcium carbonate now remains trapped inside. Water will flow, get into the groundwater, and वो hydrological cycle का part बनेगा. But the CO2 got trapped. That's what we want. If water will have less CO2, more CO2 will dissolve into it. So this happens naturally. You may have studied those landforms like stalagmite, stalactite, those things. वो calcium carbonate वाले ही होते हैं, right? So I'm not. Geography is one area where I'm not good. Ethics is another. I'm a highly unethical person. तो आप झूठ नहीं लिख पाते हो. एथिक्स पेपर में क्या करना होता है? बहुत झूठ लिखना होता है. Coming back to this, so geological carbon sequestration, how inside Earth CO2 was stored. This was carbonates is one of the mechanism. Then there are some artificial mechanism. One is hydrodynamic trapping. Hydrodynamic trapping uses the same mechanism which is used by nature to trap natural gas. Natural gas remains trapped inside, no? Generally what happens, let's understand this. Suppose I fill this area with gas. I fill this thing with gas. And even if there's a small leakage, but this pipe, a small pipe which goes to the very top, which goes to a long distance, what would happen is if this gas would start going out and this starts getting emptied, there would be a pressure for gas to remain inside. यहाँ तो वैक्यूम नहीं बन पाएगा ना. So if this distance is long, no, if this depth is long, so gas can be trapped easily. This is how natural gas also remains trapped. So we do not have to get into like exact science, exact physics of it. But this is also a way in which CO2 which you capture can be by hydrodynamic trapping stored. Then there is solubility trap. CO2 can be made soluble in water or in oil, that can be stored. There is mineral carbonation. So mineral carbonation तो हमने geological वाले में भी पढ़ा था ऐसे ही. Then there are some technological carbon sequestration. You capture carbon, convert it into, let's say, graphene products. Graphene is what? Pure carbon. तो वो direct air capture, air से directly capture करना CO2 को. This is like highly expensive for now and very energy intensive. जितना आप CO2 capture नहीं कर पाते उससे ज़्यादा burn कर दे हो, but in future as the technology improves, this may also play a role. And then there are engineered molecules. Engineered molecules are such molecules which can react with CO2 in the environment and form a compound which is stable. So this is technological carbon sequestration. There was one biological, second was geological, third is technological. Geological में एक natural है, then we can artificially also in earth store carbon and thus reduce CO2 from the environment. There is other types of carbon sinks, other mechanisms of storing carbon which are carbon sinks. So green carbon, blue carbon are those mechanisms. So biological sequestration आपने देखा है ना, उसमें plants, vegetation में the CO2 gets stored, that is green carbon. When the CO2 is getting stored in plants and vegetation associated with water, for example in the coastal region, in aquatic or marine ecosystem, there it is called blue carbon. So mangrove, seagrasses, there it would be called blue carbon. Carbon credit and carbon offsetting we have already studied. Carbon credit mechanism and how this can also help in reducing CO2. I'm not able to do it in my own country, it's expensive. I'll do that work in some other country. So that is also, this is also a mechanism to fight carbon climate change. Then there is carbon pricing. So carbon pricing means adding extra cost. So carbon pricing can be done in many different ways. One is emission trading system. Emission trading system, like the first mechanism that we had done in market-based approach. I am reducing my CO2 more than what I'm supposed to do. I get credit. I'm able to sell that credit. This is carbon pricing. By reducing my CO2 emission, I'm earning something. Other person by emitting extra CO2 has to pay something. This is emission trading system. But there's another mechanism called carbon tax. Carbon taxes, petrol, diesel पे high tax लगाओ, coal पे high tax लगाओ. It would become expensive. People would move to other better sources. That is carbon tax. Now, did you all understand what carbon tax is? So recently, one of the ministers had said, कि हम तो the high rates of petrol and diesel is helping us in fighting climate change. Purpose was not this, like इनका high rate is not. When you apply carbon tax, also use the money that you're getting for green purposes, not for paying yourself salaries, building a vista for you. Okay, so advantages of carbon pricing. One, it shifts the cost on polluter. Carbon pricing, carbon पे tax, जो pollute कर रहा है वो pay करे. Second, it has a number of advantages over cap and trade model. Cap and trade model मतलब you cap your emission, इसके beyond नहीं जाना है in trade. It has a number of advantages over cap and trade model. What advantages does it have? It avoids the problem of choosing a baseline. Why baseline? Why it avoids the problem of choosing a baseline? See one condition, like Germany has to cap and trade model में Germany said you do not emit more than this. If you emit more than this, then you will have to buy a carbon credit from someone else. But वहाँ पे एक baseline choose करना पड़ता है. What is the baseline? You are allowed to emit up to this much. You are not allowed to go at this level. You have to choose a baseline. But in carbon tax, no. If you are buying coal, you are paying carbon tax. If you are buying petrol, you are paying carbon tax. So there is no need of choosing a baseline in case of carbon tax mechanism. See, please note, carbon tax or cap and trade model, they are all part of carbon pricing mechanism of fighting climate change. So carbon pricing में एक carbon tax है, दूसरा cap and trade model है. We are giving you advantages of carbon tax over cap and trade model. First is no baseline. Second is better adaptation to element of uncertainty. Now, simple. If you are using any fuel, you pay some extra tax. There is no other concern here. Then less volatility and more predictability. Every country knows कि इतना oil use होगा तो इतना हम carbon tax दे रहे होंगे. Less administrative arbitrariness. It's just like extra cess लग गया. Address the problem of equity. Equity कैसे? How does it address the problem of equity? Countries which are poor will be using less of the fuel, and thus would be using paying less of the tax. Countries which are rich will be using more of the fuel, thus be paying more the tax. Think of poor and rich people. Rich people who use more of these fuels will pay more tax. Poor people who do not use or use very less of these fuel will pay less tax. Then carbon tax is essentially a Pigovian tax. These are those taxes which have a negative impact on the use of the product. So when you'll impose carbon tax on coal, let's say, it will increase the price of coal and will negate or will discourage the use of that thing. Then better understandability. Anyone can understand. Cap and trade model would be complicated, but anyone can understand carbon tax. If you're buying coal, petrol, pay some tax on. Okay, then there are some limitations of global carbon tax mechanism. Global carbon tax mechanism. One, there would be no CBDR, common but differentiated responsibility. Why? Even developed countries would be paying tax, developing countries would also be paying tax. So, how would there be this common but differentiated responsibility principle be applied? Here, the
कॉमन प्रॉब्लम कॉमन रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी हो जाएगा. रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी डिफरेंशिएट नहीं होगा. रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी शुड बी मोर विथ द रिच कंट्रीज. एंड टैक्सेस जनरली आर पार्ट ऑफ नेशंस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. ग्लोबल कार्बन टैक्स थोड़ा सा इश्यू हो जाएगा. विल गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया अलाउ UNFCCC to impose a tax or do anything like that? These limitations are not that important. Ignore it. Now come to geoengineering, climate engineering or carbon capture technology. Geoengineering matlab engineer the environment around you to capture more carbon. Modify the environment around you to capture more carbon. For example, by injecting atmosphere with sulfur or hydrogen sulfide. When you inject the atmosphere with sulfur or hydrogen sulfide, you will basically be copying a volcano. So when volcano explodes, sometimes it becomes completely dark because the atmosphere is filled with gases, and then sunlight is not able to reach Earth and it becomes very, very cold. So we can copy this and we can in atmosphere release somewhat hydrogen sulfide or other such thing. So it will create badal kind of situation. Badal mein in cloud we generally have water, but here it will be sulfide and all, and will prevent sunlight from reaching Earth. So it will cool down Earth. Then putting large mirrors in space facing the other side, not this side. Now, ऐसे सोचो, let's say this is Earth and we put a mirror here facing on the other side. So sunlight will fall in the mirror and will get reflected back. So less sunlight reaching us, less heat reaching us. Help us in fighting climate change. These are all theoretical things. अभी हम कर नहीं रहे हैं. But these are all geoengineering mechanisms that can be used for fighting climate change. In fact, a question on this was asked in prelims 2018 या 19 में पूछा गया था. Injecting the atmosphere with sulfur वाला. Then there are other things like using wind-powered motors to whiten the cloud. Here, what is being suggested? This. You use wind-powered motors, and using these motors, you pump the water from ocean very high in the atmosphere. Very high in the atmosphere. They'll go in the atmosphere and convert into clouds. Less sun, and because it is wind-powered, it will not be emitting any extra. So this will be spread in the atmosphere and बादल बन जाएंगे. They'll reflect the sun back. Earth will cool down. To fight climate change, there are some other things. For example, carbon capture and storage technologies. We have discussed carbon capture and storage technologies थोड़ा सा. There are some other things that we are doing. For example, seeding the sea with iron. In sea, adding iron. So iron basically promotes phytoplankton growth. Phytoplankton, using sunlight, it's able to grow. So it's like it will do some photosynthesis and thus will store CO2. So in fact, India had a project called LOHAFEX with Germany, where iron fertilization of ocean was being done, but later it was halted because of the protest from environmentalists. Adding iron was problematic, but this is one of the mechanisms that can be used for capturing iron. Then building fake trees. Fake trees would nothing be but containing compounds which can react with CO2 to absorb it and store it in the solid form. These are methods of geoengineering which can be used to fight climate change. Okay, so this was our climate change का first booklet. एक और booklet है, but उसे अब updates में करते हैं. Our next class would be on Saturday, Sunday, and that would be on polity. We'll be starting with polity. तो 15th August तक polity governance भी खत्म कर देंगे. तो more or less we would be done. We'll only be left with updates. उसके बाद आप जो भी request करेंगे, history, geography, static portion, current affairs will finish by when I say governance, it also includes social justice. तो women related issues, children related issues, health, education, transgender, elderlies, all those things would also be done there. Okay, तो schemes करेंगे या नहीं करेंगे, क्यों नहीं करेंगे यार, सब करेंगे. So polity governance is something that we are starting to do. Try to go through the chapter, everything till chapter on fundamental rights in Lakshmikant और DD Basu. सैटरडे संडे हम उन्हीं, जैसे यूएपीए इशू है, सेडिशन इशू है, उन सबको करेंगे. एंड सी दीज इश्यूज ऑफ इन पॉलिटी, most of the questions, 80% of the questions, 90% of the questions you will get from Lakshmikant or DD Basu. Very less number of questions would be from the things that we would be studying. And therefore what I'll try to do is, I'll try to ensure that it remains a bit main centric. Your preparation, जो हम पढ़ा रहे हैं क्लास में, it remains a bit main centric because in prelims polity is Lakshmikant. So we'll talk about various acts, various those things, and slightly, not in a lot of detail, but at least in key point form, we'll do its analysis also. So the notes that you will be getting for polity, it will have title of pre-cum mains. जो हमारा पहला चल रहा था, जो हमने बीच में रोक दिया था, बिकॉज स्टूडेंट्स वर अनहैप्पी कि व्हाई आर वी डूइंग मेंस राइट नाउ. द पॉलिटी थिंग्स विल कीप इट दैट वे, बिकॉज अगेन अंडरस्टैंड पॉलिटी में क्या पढ़ाएं, मतलब फ्रीडम ऑफ प्रेस पढ़ाते टाइम बस 3 फैक्चुअल चीजों में हम क्या पढ़ा के छोड़ दें, राइट. तो पॉलिटी will be kind of pre-cum mains manner में, will be starting from this Saturday. अच्छा, one more thing, for 2022 the current affairs batch is starting this Sunday. तो आपके जो जूनियर्स हैं, दोस्त हैं, आप लोगों ने मुझसे पढ़ा है, आप लोगों को पता है मैं कैसा पढ़ाता हूँ. तो मार्केटिंग का मुझे सबसे अच्छा तरीका यही लगता है कि जो स्टूडेंट्स, जिन स्टूडेंट्स को मैं अच्छा लगता हूँ वो आगे बता पाए, जिन स्टूडेंट्स को मैं अच्छा नहीं लगता वो भी आगे बता दें कि सर अच्छा नहीं पढ़ाते हैं, पर बता दें. जो भी पढ़ना चाह रहा है, जो भी देखना चाह रहा है क्लासेस को, प्रोग्राम्स को, तो करंट अफेयर्स प्रोग्राम हमारा हाईली अफोर्डेबल होता है, वो आप लोगों को पता लग ही गया होगा. आप लोग खुद ही बोलते हैं कि फीस थोड़ी बढ़ा दो, बट दिस टाइम वी आर डूइंग अ फ्यू चेंजेस. वन, classes would be live, but after live classes you will be able to watch a video only for 2 times. That is, if a video is of 1.5 hours, then you will be able to watch it for 180 minutes. अगर एक 90 मिनट का वीडियो है तो you'll be able to watch it for 180 minutes. There's a clock coming up because right now what's happening, एक अकाउंट से 10-10, 20-20 बच्चे देख रहे हैं, और उसकी वजह से हमारा बैंडविड्थ कॉस्ट बहुत ज्यादा हो जाता है. रिसेंटली हमें विमियो ने 20 लाख का बिल भेज दिया कि आपका इतना बैंडविड्थ यूज हो रहा है. एंड देन वी लुक्ड एट कि करंट अफेयर्स में एक ही वीडियो उसके बैंडविड्थ से 20 टाइम्स 30 टाइम्स ज्यादा देखे गए हैं. तो नाउ वी आर कमिंग अप विद अ न्यूअर सिस्टम, वैसा है. ठीक है, तो अब वो शेयरिंग वाली चीज सजेस्ट मत करिएगा, वो हो नहीं पाएगा. एक बार बच्चा ऑनलाइन देख सकता है क्लास को जब लाइव हम पढ़ा रहे होंगे, एंड देन 2 बार वीडियोस को और दैट पर्सन कैन वॉच. तो दिस टाइम 5 बच्चे या 10 बच्चे शेयरिंग नहीं कर पाएंगे. ओके, तो दैट बैच इज स्टार्टिंग ऑन August 1st, दिस संडे. दिस वीक विल हैव ओनली 1 क्लास, नेक्स्ट वीक से 2-2 क्लासेस होंगी उस बैच के. ठीक है, तो लेट्स स्टॉप द क्लासेस हियर टुडे. कोई डाउट्स तो मुझे नहीं दिख रहे हैं. I'll see you on Saturday. We'll do polity. Saturday, Sunday polity करते हैं, और फिर नेक्स्ट वीक से on Fridays we'll do all the updates, environment का अपडेट, साइंस का अपडेट, इकोनॉमी का अपडेट, एंड सो ऑन. ओके, चलिए, थैंक यू वेरी मच.